Welcome everyone. I am back doing some battle reports here on the channel. It's been over a year now since our last report, and sorry for the delay. I told y'all in the last one it might be a while, and it has been, but found with the new edition of Warhammer 40k, some folks in the area that play and are interested in getting together on a regular basis, so I might actually be able to bring you some more regular reports on a more regular basis. I actually have a couple of games already record or set to debut here, set to record. This is the first of these, and got a few more, about three behind this one here real quick for you, and then we'll see how things go. It may be a lot like last time, sporadic, with a whole bunch at once and then nothing for a little while, but we'll see how things play out. But it's going to be mostly 40k going forward. There isn't any fantasy anymore, obviously, and haven't found anybody that plays Kings of War or anything around here. So if you're looking for Kings of War reports, unfortunately, can't help you with that. But if you're interested in 40k and you like the way I present reports here on the channel, then I got a bunch of those coming at you here real quick. So I hope you enjoy it, hope you like it. New edition, so lots of learning, lots of things going on. Been playing my demons mostly, so these first several reports I'm going to be playing demons exclusively. We'll see how things go after a little bit. I'll start to mix the Marines in probably after a while. But anyways, so here we go. Warhammer 40k Battle Report. Dark Angels versus Demons of Chaos. I'm playing the demons. Guy that I met, Wes, is playing the Dark Angels. We're playing 2,500 points, which is a lot, especially for new game, new edition. This is not my first game, though. This is probably about the 9th or 10th game I've played. I played a bunch of like 1,000-point games. Most of my opponents, we were all new, we were all learning, so I didn't take pictures or do reports on those. Just trying to figure stuff out. And I think I've gotten to the point now where I'm comfortable enough with it that I don't think I'll make too egregious errors, although I probably did make quite a few. And hopefully, if you see those, you can point them out and let me know. And if not, then great. If there are no mistakes, cool. Anyways, we're playing a no mercy scenario, which I think is what it's called with the kill points. So we're just playing, kill your opponent. And we got the Dawn of War deployment. His list, and again, I didn't get specifics on everything because it was sort of a spur of the moment game, but he's basically playing a Deathwing, a Terminator army. So we've got Belial, a couple of Interrogator Chaplains, and Terminator armor. He's got an Ancient. I think he had a Thunderhymn and a Storm Shield. He's got 4 Deathwing Terminator squads. Most of them have the what do you call it? The missile launcher rack, and then they got power fists and chain swords for the most part. One of the squads did have some more close combat weapons, like some twin lightning claws and things like that. But for the most part, they were fairly standard Deathwing Terminator squads: missile launcher, storm bolters, power sword on the sergeant, power fists, and then 1 or 2 chain fists. He's got 2 Knight squads in Terminator armor, and they had their basic standard armor, storm shields and their maces of, deathly killing. He brought a Land Raider Crusader, and then he brought a Vindicator and a Predator, and the Predator is all las cannons. My Demons of Chaos army, I have Baelacor, a Lord of Change, and a Bloodthirster of Fury, Unfettered Fury or whatever. And then I have 2 units of 9 Flamers, a unit of 9 Screamers, 2 Soul Grinders, and then 3 units of cheap infantry, so 2 units of Horrors, and a unit of Bloodletters. And the Horrors are all pink Horrors. I will experiment with Horror formations later on. Hopefully in the next report, maybe you'll see me messing around with that. But for right now, just 2 units of pink Horrors and a unit of 10 Bloodletters. Alright, so deployment. You can see here over on, this is the left side of the table, my side of the table. You can see Soul Grind at the top, Bloodletters, the Screamers there next to the woods. Baelacor is tucked into the woods behind them, and I figure I'm going to use Screamers and Baelacor, or Screamers and Flying Demon Princes in general together. I think that's an obvious combination that could work really well together, so I'm going to try that out. Let's see, Soul Grinder behind that rocky piece of terrain there in the middle. Flamers, the purple guys on top, pink Horrors next to them. More Flamers in the woods here behind the tower, and then pink Horrors, even though they look blue, they're actually pink Horrors. there at the bottom next to the woods. The empty base there, kind of at the bottom of the screen, is actually where the Bloodthirster's standing. He just wouldn't stand up, so I threw down a blank base to hold position for him, and then the Lord of Change is down here at the bottom. And of course, I'm trying to my best to sort of box out his deep strikers, and I sort of forgot about that. As I was deploying, because obviously the right thing to do would have been to take those cheap infantry units that I don't really care about and sort of put them out on the flanks to sort of push him away, and then put my more valuable, more susceptible to the assault unit, greater demons and whatnot behind, and so that way I could get the charge on him rather than being potentially charged by him. But we'll see how it goes. So yeah, this is just working down the line. So you can see the Soul Grinder, Blood Letters, Balicor. Middle of my lines here. And then this is over on the flank. Let's see his deployment. So he's got the Predator up there next to the statue. That's the black model that's unpainted. And then he's got Land Raider, the one of the unit of Terminators. Belial, you might be able to pick him out. He's parked in the middle of that woods. And then another unit of Terminators, and the Vindicator. There's a unit in the tank, the Crusader. That's like his close combat guys that have the assault, the lightning claws and things like that. And I think there's a chaplain in with them. It's just kind of a close-up here. And another close-up, give you an idea of what they've got. And just a shot of the tank. Alright, and so these are the knights, the chaplain, and the ancient there at the back with the banner that are all in reserve. And I think this is another unit that's in reserve. Oh, these are the guys in the tank. That's what they are. So that's what you can see what they're armed with. And just another shot of them. And he obviously finished deploying first and went ahead and I didn't steal the initiative, so he takes the first turn. Movement, he basically just pushed up in the center with his Terminators and the tanks. The last tank didn't move. He put a bunch of shooting into these guys, killed about half of that squad. Let's see, a lot of shooting goes into the Flamers here and takes down, what, a third of their unit? About 3 of them died. Let's see, he picks off a Screamer here. And the Laser Cannon tank does 8 wounds to the Soul Grinder, so it cuts him in half, more than half, right off the bat. So I've been debating and looking at these guys, the Soul Grinders, how to use them, and I've been back and forth on whether to make them, assaulty and advance them forward, or to stay back and shoot with them. And this guy basically is just going to be a gun platform at this point, because if he moves, he's not going to be shooting all that effectively. So I think I'm going to try in this game to use him to shoot at the enemy tank and see how that works. So his knights come in over here, and you can see the one squad, the close squad, managed to get the assault on the Bloodthirster. The other unit failed its charge. I think they tried to charge the Horrors and came up short. And this is after combat, so you can see he did 2 wounds to the Bloodthirster. I count down, so this is wounds remaining. It started with 16, it's got 14 left, and you can see I've picked off 2 of the knights already with the Bloodthirster. So on the whole, liking that was pretty good. So moving to turn 1 for the Daemons of Chaos. And you can see how I move here. I keep the Soul Grinders in place. I'm just going to shoot back for the most part. I push up with Balicor and the Screamers on the left, especially now that his teleport Deep Striker guys are done. I can know where I need to go now. Let's see, the Bloodletters move up in the middle, and then Horrors. And I think I just forgot to move these pink Horrors down here at the bottom, but the Flamers are all going to move to the bottom to try to deal with the Knight attack. Between psychic powers and shooting, I get 5 damage on this tank. So he's counting up, I'm counting down. It's somewhat confusing at times, but that's okay. And over here I managed 3 damage on this tank. That probably came from the, what do you call it? Probably came from the other Soul Grinder, the red one, now that I think about it. And you can see here, so with Flamer shooting and the Horrors, I managed to pick off all but 2 of these knights here on the left. The Lord of Change. I think I got one wound on him on the chaplain through a psychic power smite probably, and then I failed my charge, so he didn't make it into combat with. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. This is before charges. Apologies. Yeah, there you go. So this is after the charge. So I did make the charge in, and I don't think I do any damage. I think I missed with pretty much all of my attacks, or the attacks I did hit with, he saved with his invul. And he's got a 3 up on the guy on the left and a 4 up on the guy on the right. Um, so yeah, I was a little disappointed in this, but yeah, it is what it is. At least I'm sort of holding them up, preventing them from helping out with the souls to further to the with like the bloodthirster. This was kind of funny. The horrors go in, and 2, 4, 6, 8. I don't think he did any damage to the horrors. I think that was the funniest thing that I'd seen in a long time. And then the horrors actually managed to wound one of the knights, so that was pretty great actually for them. And over here, the Bloodthirster, I think, picks off another knight and takes 2 wounds in the process. So, doing really well over there. His dice rolls, like the first turn when he charged in, when he went to swing with the sergeant or whatever, the sergeant guy got the 2 damage, and when he rolled the damage for the other 4 knights on their attacks, they were all ones and twos. Like every single roll was less than a 3. It was amazing. He got like almost all of them hit, and then none of them wounded. And he did it 2 turns in a row, where he got no damage with the knights that he was using. So yeah, it was pretty insane. I think he even spent 2 command points to interrupt my combats and swing with the knights before the Bloodthirster attacked. So he had all 3 of those guys attack and only managed 2 points of damage. Pretty upsetting, pretty terrible. And this is just a shot back after combat across the table. And then looking back the other direction. And we move on to turn 2 for the Dark Angels. So, so yeah, he falls back from combat. I understand him falling back with the characters, but it's just really funny seeing the knights, these like amazing close combat Space Marine warriors, falling back from close combat with horrors. I got a chuckle out of that. But anyways, so he falls back from combat here. And surprisingly, so doesn't manage to get first blood. He basically moves the tank, the Crusader, over and guns down all of those bloodletters. Um, so he gets first blood for that. But yeah, up here, so yeah, he basically kills that horror unit, and I think he wiped them out because he shot at him with one of the Terminator squads, um, and did so much damage that there was like 1 model left, and obviously they aren't going to pass their leadership check at that point, so they died as well. But the Bloodthirster managed to clean out the last of the Terminators, the Knight Terminators he was fighting. I think he's down to 9 wounds. I think there's a 6 behind the axe head there that you can't see. And that was pretty much it. So we move on to turn 2 for the Demons of Chaos. So over here, I'm going to move up. I'm going to take out the tank with the Screamers and Bala Core. Yeah, at least that's the plan. And then here, moving up, so the thought is I'm going to use Psychic Powers to finish off the Chaplain. The Bloodthirster will then assault whatever's left, and I'm going to take the Lord of Change into the tank, prevent it from shooting. These guys move up, so the bat guys, and I think, in all honesty, they needed to be farther forward, because I think at this point I was still thinking pistols had range 12, and these guys only have range 8. Obviously, with their 12-inch move, I could have moved them all within range of the Terminators. That wouldn't been a problem. But I think at this point I was just forgetting their ranges. But anyways, they would move, and then all of them would shoot into the Terminators. Or if if one squad kills the 2 Terminators, they're going to fire into the characters. Over here, the Corn Soul Grinder moves around to get a shot on the tank, and maybe make itself a useful addition. If those Terminators in the middle of the battlefield come forward, it might be able to move up and assault them. I think I managed to kill the tank with shooting and psychic powers, because the Be'lakor obviously is in easy charge range, so he used his smite and his infernal gaze, and I think he did like 5 damage, 5 mortal wounds to the tank. So it didn't have many left, and then the soul grinder, the Zinch one back here at the bottom of the table, actually hit with a bunch of stuff and did a bunch of damage with its attacks, surprisingly, and managed to kill the tank. So it's dead in shooting. See over here, similarly, yeah, we had sort of the same result. We kill the chaplain with the psychic powers from the Lord of Change. Shooting kills the Knight Terminators, and that just leaves the Ancient here for the Bloodthirster to pick on. Let's see, I think this is horror shooting, maybe picks off a Terminator. And yeah, so over here, obviously take the Screamers in first to soak up the shooting from the tank, then Be'lakor comes in, and we're not likely going to kill this thing, obviously. It's still got 15 wounds remaining. So we're just hoping to damage it, and then obviously if it is in close combat, I don't think it can shoot. It doesn't have that ability where it can leave combat. It's not a flyer, obviously. It doesn't have anything special as far as I'm aware. So at least takes a whole bunch of his shooting out of the out of his options for next turn. Let's see, the Lord of Change just bounces off the tank. He doesn't get anything done there. He's not strong enough to get through its armor. But again, he's going to keep it from shooting because it is in close combat now. Bloodthirster kills the Ancient pretty easily. And yeah, up here we only managed, what, 6 damage? And I think all of that came from Be'lakor. I think he got 2 hits through with his 3 damage weapon, and that was it. So the Crusader's fine as far as its abilities, its health and everything goes, but of course, obviously, it's not going to be able to shoot next turn. And so this is just a general overview of the center of his lines, basically, at this point. And then this is back across the table, give you an idea of where everything's sitting at this point. So we're going to turn 3 for the Dark Angels. As you might imagine, he brings the Terminator squad in, this Land Raider out. They're going to shoot and assault various things. The Land Raider is going to move back out of the way. Let's see, over here, these guys are getting ready to respond to the greater demons over here, coming up his flank, and trying to stay within range of Belial for his reroll ability, his aura ability. No big surprise here. A whole bunch of shooting focuses on the Lord of Change, and then they finish him off in close combat. Over here, the Terminators charge Be'lakor. The Chaplain charges the Screamers. The Screamers were carrying a wound already, so I don't think the Chaplain did a whole lot, but he might have killed a couple of models. I don't think the Terminators really did a whole lot. They might have put some damage on Be'lakor. Let's see. So this is just, yeah, this is reform after killing the Lord of Change. And okay, yeah, so he did do half wounds to Be'lakor, so he took him from 8 down to 4. So not bad. Be'lakor killed 2 models, I think, in response. So all in all, a decent trade. The Chaplain took out a Screamer, and then but he took 2 wounds in the process, so he may be hurting as well. So we go to turn 3 for the demons. And yeah, so you see this is basically after this is sort of end of the turn. Yeah, Be'lakor didn't take any damage and mopped the floor with those Terminators he was fighting. The Chaplain, good thing he has 6 wounds because he took 3 during the combat, and is down on he's now on his last wound. He killed a Screamer himself, or a Terminator maybe killed a Screamer, but in the end, these 2 units are not going to stand up. Let's see, over here, so I charged, I'm trying to remember. Yes. So the Flamers moved and shot down that unit of Terminators on the right, the one that's killed the Lord of Change last turn. The Bloodthirster hopped in between all the units and then charged Belial and killed him. Bloodthirster's obviously down to 5 wounds. And we move on to turn 4. So yeah, so this is, oh, all right. So this is showing just last turn. Obviously, the flamers moved and shot down the unit, and then the yellow arrow is just showing that the bloodthirster is actually sitting up where that base is. I just put him back by the tower to get him out of the way. So it looks like he's going to move up and either shoot the flamers or shoot the bloodthirster and then assault. And I'm not sure what Belial's still doing on the table there. He's already dead. That's weird. Anyways, but yeah, so he shoots at the bloodthirster with the Vindicator, and it doesn't really do anything. I think I might have made some pretty good invulnerable saves, so it didn't do any damage. So he ends up charging the bloodthirster with the Terminators. He's probably going to kill him. Yeah, he does. Not really a surprise there. A lot of power fist attacks will get the job done. And over here, yeah, these two fold to the demons, so no real surprise there. So we go into turn 4 for the Demons of Chaos. And so at this point, yeah, I move Baelacor over, move the Flamers up. I'm pretty sure the Soul Grinders, at least one of them, I think one Soul Grinder moved up and shot the Vindicator tank, and took it down to low enough wounds that it I think it died. I'm not sure exactly how I got rid of it, but it was a short on this turn. I think it might have been the Soul Grinders were both in range. I think I moved the Zinch one that had been damaged up previously, because when the tank on the left died and the units were locked in combat, it didn't have anything to shoot at, so I think it moved as fast as it could, and it probably even advanced forward to get in range of stuff here in the middle of the table. So it was probably 2 Soul Grinders shooting at the Vindicator that took it off the table. And then obviously Flamers and Psychic Powers from Baelacor killed the Terminators here in the middle of the table. And that's the end of the game. The result was a Demons of Chaos victory. It was a complete table wipe of the Dark Angels. They didn't have anything left at the end of the game. So very solid, very impressive victory for the Demons. I was quite surprised, to be honest. Very pleased with how things worked. I think the biggest thing, I got real lucky at the beginning with the Knights kind of bouncing off my greater demons on the right flank. Once that initial strike failed, I think everything really started to swing in my favor. I was able to respond effectively with the Flamers and the Horrors on that flank to bog him down, eliminate those units, and then the sort of pincer movement I had going, I think, worked very well. I really like the Baelacor Screamer connection on the left flank, and I have enough Screamer models that I may try that with more Demon Princes rather than the Greater Demons in the future, just because of how obviously heavy tank, anti-tank, heavy weapon magnets the Greater Demons are. I think it would be a good idea to maybe balance out their hitting power with more units and the weaker but more survivable Demon Princes. So I'm going to try that and see how that works in future games. But anyways, that's it for this game. Hope you enjoy the quick report. Try to keep things fairly speedy and not get bogged down in over-analysis or anything. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, comment, leave a like, whatever. And if not, let me know what I can do better. Hopefully this recording works well. I'm a little out of practice, so hopefully it's not annoying. Anyways, glad to be back. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again here for the next one on the channel.